Hey guys, it's your girl Tasha Mack here. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning in. Like, follow, subscribe, whichever button pops up on your screen. Hit it down below and welcome back to my channel. So we are going to get into today's video, and this video, you guys, it's deep, it is heavy, it is interesting. And before I really start talking about it, I want to just continue with lead with, not continue with, lead with mental health is very, very, very important. In schools, we aren't really taught about mental health. We're not taught about how to notice the signs of people having mental health issues and needing support with their mental health. We're not taught how to support ourselves when it comes to mental health or the loved ones and people that we have in our lives. And supporting ourselves, it also ties into how to protect yourself from those individuals who are suffering, and how to notice and to be aware of the signs before they get out of hand and before you get affected and you get hurt yourself. So with this video, I am going to talk about the signs and symptoms of some serious mental health issues. I'm not a psychiatrist. I am not a psychotherapist in any way, shape, or form. But in my experience, I've encountered some individuals with serious issues related to identity. And because I said I'm not a professional, I can't diagnose anything. But I've been around individuals who have some serious identity issues. And it's kind of like a Lifetime movie, y'all, to the point where like they are emulating and imitating me. Yes. And I know that sounds weird. I know that sounds a bit far-fetched, but it's not far-fetched at all, because their characteristics, their mannerisms and conversation, to the point where they believe like themselves that they are me. If you know any Lifetime movies and you've seen the Lifetime movie, The Perfect Roommate, boom, great example, okay? I think Jennifer's Body, y'all, that movie right there, perfect example. And when it comes to television, it's important to note and it's important to remember and realize what they put on TV is not far-fetched from reality, okay? Yes, they exaggerate certain factors for the dramatic effect, for the media component, but it doesn't mean that it's false, because things like that really do occur. Things like that really do happen, and I am and have been a victim of it, okay? So noticing the signs and just being aware of when someone is just not okay. Now, it's also not your responsibility at all to see that any individual is okay. It's not your responsibility at all to take care of their mental health and their well-being. That is entirely up to them. That is their responsibility. That is their choice. Well, it's not really a choice. It's kind of something they need to do, but it's not your responsibility to put that on your plate. Even if it is a loved one and someone that you care about, you do not have to sacrifice yourself or put yourself in harm's way or at risk for the means of anyone else. And that goes for any relationship, that goes for anyone in your life. You got to let them live their lives for them and protect yourself at all costs. And by protecting yourself, if you have to set strict and firm boundaries, if you have to remove yourself from certain situations entirely, do that. If you have to block someone, cancel the phone calls, block the numbers, delete the pictures, whatever it is that you need to do, do it, because your safety and your sanity comes first, always. All right? So, some of the signs that I noticed with individuals who have some serious like identity issues is, one, they kind of lack focus, right? It's hard for them to fully engage in a task or fully engage in something that is like future oriented, right? They tend to just be stuck and focused on their present situation or whatever it is that's going on. They're kind of worldly, so they're stuck in the world and focused on the celebrity drama and the celebrity media and those kind of things. So that's also another component. And they don't really have a clear sense of self, right? They feel good about themselves based on what it is that others are doing in their lives. And it's usually the failure and the mishaps of other people is what brings them pleasure and joy. Whether they know it or not, that is how they feel good about themselves, by seeing other people down and out or feeling low and hurt. Another sign is that these individuals cannot genuinely be happy for you if you're doing good, right? They may fake it, they may pretend to be, but their smile is never genuine, and they almost always and often have a blank stare, okay? They're not that expressive in their face, or if they are, it's forced. Their smile is very forced. They tend to not even like smiling, okay? And when they do, it's weird. It's like a very, very awkward smile. So that is another thing that I've noticed with these kind of people. And when it comes to, there's the sense of self, they don't really know who they are. Their identity is based on their friends group. Their identity is based on the people around them, and they thrive in a group setting. They can't really function on their own. They have to have the support of other people with them, around them, co-signing their ideas, co-signing their beliefs. And they essentially don't make too much progress on their own. Whatever progress that they do make is tied to that of someone else, or what someone else is doing. Or they're mostly involved, like I said, in worldly things. So drinking, partying, smoking, just having fun, versus planning and being future oriented. It's sickness. So it's literally no fault to any individual like this. They genuinely and wholeheartedly need help, okay? But they can't think about the long term in the future. It's not really wired there for them to do that. So that's another thing to notice. And if you are someone who is ambitious and goal-oriented around them, your presence bothers them, but it also excites them in a way. So they tend to mirror you, and they mimic your behaviors, and they mimic your actions. They will exhibit an interest in the things that you do for a period of time, but it's mostly to get into your routines and your habits, to pick up your routines and your habits. It's not because they are trying to do that for themselves, because on their own, like I mentioned before, it's not something they're going to continue. On their own, they're not going to do it. But if they're with you, and if you're the one initiating those tasks and those hobbies and those different things, then it is something that they will engage in. But on their own, they cannot do it, right? If you are into mental health, psychology, psychiatry, psychotherapy, whatever it is, and you know what this condition is, please drop it in the comments below so that I can educate myself more, and whoever is watching this video will gain more information and insight on what this is, because people like this do need help. I'm not saying that they need to be written off into society or whatever the case may be, but if there is a way to help them before it gets to the point of being detrimental to their well-being, where they lose their identity and their sense of self entirely, wholeheartedly, like as a community, helping these individuals is what matters the most. Their loved ones should be concerned about them, and their loved ones should be aware of this, because they tend to also have toxic habits, okay? Addictions, either addictions to social media, addictions to like sleeping, drugs and alcohol, whatever the case may be, sex addictions. That is one that I've noticed. Sex addictions. These things are like warning signs, and they also are pretty isolated. They tend to not leave their room. They stay to themselves. Or if they are up and out, it's usually for like a social functioning or a social gathering where it's other people around, and they're feeding off of the energy of the group and that dynamic. Overall, like, these people genuinely need help, because it can get to the point where they get so involved in whoever the person is that they're getting their fuel and their, I would say, like, sense of self from, where they genuinely don't know who they are without that other person. And it becomes pretty scary. It becomes really just, scary and disheartening, because the things that they do and the manners that they can move in and the matters that they can take are detrimental to themselves and harmful to whoever that person is that they think they are at that moment in time. So if anyone can relate to this, if you know someone who is acting like this, if you know someone who has dealt with this, please comment down below, send me a message, whatever it is. Tag a therapist, tag an expert in the field, because this is some serious, like very serious mental health things that are going on. And I know for sure I can't be the only person who has experienced this in my life. And a lot of the times you might think it's just a close friend, but little do you know, like, this person is trying to not even just like imitate you. They're not inspired by you. It's different because they want to be you. They think they are you. And that's where it gets scary, because if they think they are you, then who are you? You know? If that person thinks they're you, then who are you? And if you're spiritual and you're at all into the spiritual realm and into spirituality, you're very aware of different spirits and entities, and you're very aware of magic and dark magic and how that can play a role and play a factor into these individuals and what it is that they do. So it can get to some extreme lengths. And when it gets to those lengths, it's very detrimental to that individual, because tapping into anything spiritual has its consequences if it's not led by light and if it's not led by God. And any kind of magic that is done only has repercussions on the person that is doing it. Okay? I'll repeat that one more time. Any kind of magic that is done only has repercussions on the person that is doing it. And whatever you're putting out into the universe, magic, manifestation, prayer, whatever it is, evil eye, bad mind, whatever it is that you're putting out into the universe, whatever you anticipate and hope for someone else, it's based on what you have inside of your heart, right? So if you're a person who's wishing bad on somebody, it's because you feel bad about yourself in whatever that area is, right? If you wish for somebody to trip and fall down the stairs, it's because you probably will trip and fall down the stairs. Okay, that might not have been the best example. But if you're wishing like illness on someone, if you're wishing for someone to be mentally ill, it's because you're mentally ill, right? Because you can't put out what you don't have inside of you. So that also plays a role, and that ties into like why people like this, who, if they get to that extreme of using magic and spirituality, I'm not even going to say spirituality because, well, it is spirituality, but it's not that godly and of light spirituality. Because once you go that far down that realm, God is a forgiving God, but the devil wants his dues when he wants his dues. And once you're tied in with that kind of energy and you're tied in with that kind of entity, it's hard for you to get out unless you choose God and you go back to the light and repent for what it is that you've done. Because the devil is going to get what he's owed, regardless. And you cannot pull something out of the universe. You cannot pull something out of the air that's not inside of you. So if you're wishing for someone to die, it's because a part of you wants to die and you inside of yourself don't want to live, and you need help, right? And I'm not saying you who I'm talking to on the phone, but you need help, right? There are people who care about you. There are people who will love you regardless of what your mental status is. But it takes a lot to take that initiative to be honest with yourself and admit that you need help. So if you know someone or anyone dealing with this, you guys, it's very serious. It's not a joke, okay? Pay attention to the signs of the people in your life and how they're acting, because it's also not something that's random. It's not something that just shows up once, like boom, out of the blue. These characteristics and traits are there over time, right? It's behaviors. It's not boom, like this happens to somebody. Yes, mental health can hit, but the signs are always there. The signs are always there, okay? And there are different things that people go through that lead them to where they are in their life. But overall, they need help. Like, seriously. And if they're not willing to get the help that they need, whoever loves them and is around them needs to be the ones to say, like, hey, like, I'm worried about you. Like, be honest, but don't sit and let that person continue to destroy their life if you genuinely care about them. Don't sit and let that person go off the deep end and you watch them essentially literally kill themselves, because the steps in the process are there. It leads into that direction. So if this is someone that you genuinely feel like you care about, if it's someone you say that you love, right? Do the work to help that person get the help that they need, rather than sit there and continue and watch them destroy themselves and essentially destroy you, because you're going to feel bad being the person who saw them go off the deep end and watch them kill themselves. And then in the end, you're going to live with that guilt and that remorse. So, y'all, take care of your mental health. Take care of your health so that you can be an example for the people around you to take care of their health. And if they're not willing to listen, let it just be known that you did your part and you can clear your conscience with that. Because once they step into whatever it is that they step into, once they start doing whatever they start doing, if they get off the deep end, off the wagon, it's hard to come back from that. And if you're tying any kind of demonic entities and you're not of Yahweh, Yeshua, okay, Hamashiach, Elohim, if you're not of God, I really don't know what to say, because that is the only person, that's the only thing that can save somebody. Wherever your mind is, like if you go to God, He can and He will help you, because the Almighty has brought me through so many things in my life, and because of Him, I'm here today to tell you guys the story. And the persons, people, whatever that I am referencing, y'all, I wholeheartedly pray for regularly that they will get the help that they need and admit that they need help and stop living a lie and wake up to who it is that they are. Because the potential that they had was there, but they've gone too far and are at the point where they don't know who they are anymore. And it's really sad and it's really scary, because I wholeheartedly know who I am. I will always know who I am, because I am tied to the Almighty and He keeps me in all my ways. Because with God, all things are possible. He will continue to order my steps regardless of what happens, regardless of what the devil tries, you guys, because I am here by His grace and His glory, and I will continue to be here by His grace and His glory. And my testimony is endless. My testimony will change lives, and that is the point of me doing these videos, to help other people on their journey and in their lives, to help the next generations and next generations and whatever generations to come in my bloodline, your bloodline, whoever's bloodline, to see and to know that these things are not normal, okay? If you notice them in your life, if you've grown up with it, if you know someone who has dealt with it, it is not normal. And it's okay to not feel okay in situations like this. I am here for you. I am your friend. I am your cousin. I am your sister, whatever it is that you need. But I'm here to let you know that your truth is your truth. It's valid, okay? Your experiences are what they are. And it's not to say that the other person's truth isn't their truth, but you are entitled to what your truth is. And your reality is your own. Because there are a lot of people that will project and push things onto you that are not your own, and it is not yours, and it's not yours to carry. So it is up to you to just honor that within yourself, to learn what to let go and what to release, and how to protect your energy and how to protect yourself. Because there are things, there are people, and there are beings of this world, if they are of the enemy, that will work to take down any child of God. And with Him, all things are possible. No entity, no being, no human, no nothing, okay, can get in the way of what God has planned for you. All right, you guys. So thank y'all for tuning in. This is Tasha Mack. Okay, that's another video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, follow whichever is on your screen. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace and blessings.